Murphy, author of the Bernicia Chronicles, A Time for Swords series, Wolf of Wessex. And I just thought I'd go live. I haven't been live on here for a while, so with no announcement whatsoever, I just thought, boom, I'll go live, as I usually do. I've been very busy over the last few weeks, and I keep on, the day I used to go live was Fridays, and I keep on missing Fridays for different reasons. Always seem to have different things going on, and this Friday is no exception because I'm actually going to meeting my family to celebrate my dad's 80th birthday. And anyone who's been paying any attention on my Facebook page will know that my dad, for his 80th birthday, is actually doing a sponsored. He's doing a parachute jump, a free fall skydive, tandem skydive, 15,000 foot. He's never parachuted before, done any skydiving, so for his 80th birthday he said let's do that. So that's incredibly crazy. He's raising money actually for the male voice choir that he sings with in Wales. He was supposed to be jumping tomorrow, and we were going to then celebrate his birthday the day after, hoping that he survives. Well, I shouldn't joke. But he's actually had to postpone it for different reasons, so it's actually not going ahead until after his birthday now, sometime in July, hopefully. So I'll keep you posted about that. But I haven't actually got a link in the description, but maybe I'll add a comment with the link to my dad's fundraising page if anyone feels like banging a couple of pounds his way, or a couple of dollars or whatever. That would be fantastic, and it's all going to raise money for the male voice choir that he sings with. But enough about my dad, more about me. So I've been, as I said, I've been busy recently, although I haven't done a huge amount of writing on a novel, but I've been working on different projects, one of which was a novella that I've mentioned a few times, set in a different period. I've never written anything before that's outside of the sort of 200 or 300 years of the Anglo-Saxon period that I've written about. So everything I've written has been early medieval, from the 7th through to sort of the 9th centuries. And this is a real departure, set in the 19th century and set in America as well. So it's basically a Western, although Westerns don't seem to be very popular as a genre, although there's loads of, obviously they have been extremely popular in the past, and there are lots of new TV series like Yellowstone, which are like modern Westerns, and I know they're having like throwbacks now, and Yellowstone have created a sort of prequel series, and obviously a few years ago we had Deadwood. It was quite popular. Hell on Wheels, I think, as well, was another series. So every now and again they sort of do these resurgence, and I've heard that Kevin Costner's directing a new Western movie called, I think, Horizons, which I think might actually end up being more than one movie. It's going to be a multiple, either multiple movies or originally, and then maybe later released as sort of like a mini series or sort of a long form series on TV. I was just reading about this morning, so I'm looking forward to that because he's great. He's directed, of course, Dances with Wolves, which is one of my favorite films, and also Open Range, which is another fantastic Western that he also starred in and directed and produced. And he's, I don't know if he's going to be starring in this one, but I know he appears in Yellowstone, although I haven't seen it. But anyway, back to the writing. So I wrote this novella. I decided first myself, after going through, I originally thought I might release it and sell it just as a standalone novella. But after reading through it and editing it and then chatting with my editor and other people, I decided that maybe the world wasn't ready for that novella as it stands. But I decided I didn't want to just throw it away. It's 20,000 words, which is a chunk of book. That's about a fifth of a novel. Or even a quarter of a shorter novel people will release as a novel. So it's long enough that I didn't want to just lose it, and I'm proud of it. I think it's good. So I decided to release it bit by bit as an exclusive for patrons on my Patreon page. So if you're interested, then if you sign up as a Yesith level tier patron, you can read it there. And each week I'll be releasing another bit of it over the next few weeks. So far I've released a couple of chunks, and I'll be releasing a bit more sometime later this week or early next week. And yeah, so far there's been the feedback has been positive, but I think there's only 1 or 2 people in the world apart from me who have read the whole thing. But the feedback has been positive, for that it's well written and it's exciting and engaging and stuff. So moving on from that, what I decided in the end, instead of just keeping it as an exclusive for patrons and sort of throwing away the idea, I really did fall in love with the character, and I really enjoyed the process of writing. So I decided to use the character that's in that story and make him a side character for a novella, which I think I'm going to class as a 19th century thriller, as opposed to calling it a Western, which seems to upset people in the marketing departments of publishers. So maybe we'll think of a different way of packaging it up. But so I decided, I'm sort of in the process of planning the next couple of years of writing, and so I decided that I would work on a synopsis for that novel, which I've been doing over the last week or so. I used that novella that I wrote as a kind of deep dive proof of concept and research project, really. So I bought quite a few books as I was going through the process of writing it, and obviously had to do some research. So I've used all that research, and I pumped that and had to do a bit more research as well, but I've sort of funneled all that into a synopsis and an idea for this thriller set in the 19th century that will include some elements of the west of the United States, probably set in 1889, or at least the synopsis is. And we'll see how that goes. So I finished that today, actually, and polished it up today, and I'm quite pleased with it. So I've written about 3,000 words of the synopsis. So that's quite detailed for me. I don't normally go into so much detail in a synopsis. So I've done that. I've also done about the same length synopsis for book 10 of the Benicia Chronicles. And I'm now moving on to doing a detailed synopsis for the next Hunlaf book, A Time for Swords. That's untitled. All of these books actually are untitled at the moment. So I'll be working on that over the next week or so. And then I've got a week's holiday in a couple of weeks. So hoping to get that synopsis for the next Hunlaf book done before I go on holiday, which means when I come back from holiday, I can get straight into the writing, probably picking up the Hunlaf book first, as the last Hunlaf book came out back in March. So by the time things happen, there's a lead time for things. I've got the Benicia Chronicles book, Forest of Foes, coming out in December, and then my next book won't be coming out until autumn or winter 2023 after that. So I think people will want to know what's happening next with Hunlaf. So I'll probably do that next. And then possibly either then write the standalone 19th century one or do book 10 of the Benicia Chronicles, depending on what decision I make with the publishers and how much people scream for the next Benicia Chronicles. But the good news is there is another Benicia Chronicles on the way. I have the idea, I have the synopsis, it's detailed enough that I have kind of enough flesh on the bones of that story, and I've done sort of the high level research that I think is going to work. I feel the same way about this 19th century novel. I think that will work as well. I feel quite happy with the structure that I've come up with, the synopsis, the plot. And now I'll be working on this Hunlaf one, which I've got a vague idea of. Obviously, at the end of A Night of Flames, it ends with the end of the story, but there's obviously the door is open there for continuing stories, and I think you can sort of imagine where that's leading if you've read that book. So I kind of have some idea of what's going to happen, but not a detailed account of it. So I've got to go down and really break that down to a detailed synopsis, which is fun. I've actually been enjoying the process, although it's quite hard work, but I'm enjoying the fact that when I get down to the actual writing, I'm not going to be I'm going to know that I know what's coming up, because normally I have to do this sort of detailed breakdown once I actually start writing that book. So I'm quite happy to have these sort of in the bag and have a couple of books lined up already, sort of having the story broken down and fully fleshed out. So that's all that. So I've been planning, as I say, I've written this novella. It's going out on Patreon. If you want to check that out, then by all means, if you're feeling that way inclined, go on, check out the Patreon page. The link is in the description. And also, it goes without saying, if you're watching this and you've watched this far into it, then please like and subscribe. If you're watching it on YouTube, if you're watching it on Facebook, please like the Facebook page. If you're looking on Twitter, please follow me, etc., etc. All of the usual stuff that people ask for. So do all that. And the last thing I wanted to talk about was another thing that's kept me busy over the last few weeks, which is a new podcast that I've been working on with fellow historical fiction author Stephen A. Mackay. And look, I've even got a ticker tape thing to put on the bottom. Look at that. Woo-hoo. I'm working out new things that I can do with Restream. So yeah, it's called Rock, Paper, Swords, the Historical Action and Adventure Podcast. So I think the name speaks for itself. Rock, because we both love rock music, and from time to time we are going to mention rock music. Paper, we're both writers, obviously, and swords because, well, scissors just aren't enough, and we both write historical action and adventure. Therefore, swords feature prominently. So it seemed quite apt. And we're going to talk about everything and anything to do with historical fiction. We'll talk about historical action and adventure movies, and maybe computer games and console games as well, where there's action and adventure, maybe a historical slant. TV series. We'll talk to each other about our writing process and things like that. We'll obviously answer questions that come in from the audience. And we will also be interviewing different writers as well. So we'll invite writers on regularly and have hopefully have some great guests. And we've got some great guests lined up. So the first one, actually, I was originally going to be doing the Books and Booze live streams that I've been doing with her, but actually I contacted her and she's happy to appear on the podcast instead, which is going to be great. And that's Robin Young. So she's now publishing modern day thrillers as Erin Young. So whichever name you know her by. We'll be recording a podcast episode with her in a few days' time, and that should be going out sometime in the next month or two. So yeah, I hope if anyone there listens to podcasts and enjoys them, then I hope you'll listen to ours. It's been good fun and a lot of learning curve at the moment doing the early episodes that we've already recorded. But yeah, it's great fun. I think me and Stephen see eye to eye on most things, but there's enough fun banter between us to make it interesting, I think, to listen to us. We have different enough different points of view to make it interesting. And of course, we're both published authors in our own right, and so hopefully we know something about what we're talking about. So that's it really from me. I just wanted to give those sort of heads up about different things, a quick catch up. I can't think of anything else to say. If there's anyone watching and you want to drop a message, if it hasn't popped up by the time I go offline, I will endeavour to answer you on the social media or wherever you post your message. Just the last thing, I guess the Rock, Paper, Swords URL is in the description as well, and there's a Facebook page and a Twitter page as well, so please drop by and like the page and like the Twitter account to keep in touch. And thanks very much for your continued support, and happy reading, and enjoy the nice weather if you're in the UK, because it's going to end soon, I think, but hopefully we'll have some more warm weather around the corner. So wherever you are, happy reading.